Hi, how are you doing? My name is Rohit and I'll be breaking down the 23rd match of this year's IPL, which saw the Punjab Kings taking on the Sunrisers Hyderabad in Mohali. And I don't know how else to explain what happened today, but we saw it all. We saw dropped catches, balls going out of the stadium, someone getting stumped off of a seamer, and just everything under the sun. Whatever you can think of, it probably happened in this game. And in this chaotic comedy of errors, the Sunrisers Hyderabad won by 2 runs. And here's the thing. When you go back and watch this game, or when you listen to this watch this video, take away 2 things and 2 things only. Number 1, catches win matches. And 2, runs are runs and it doesn't matter how you get them. So we look at the SRH innings and it starts off fine. Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head do what they normally do and give SRH an explosive start. Then Arshdeep Singh comes in, gets a double strike, and SRH is in a quick hole. And the mistakes only keep compounding because then SRH does something strange. So Abhishek Sharma gets out for the 3rd wicket, and then they panic, and they use their impact sub this early, substituting out Travis Head and bringing in Rahul Tripathi. I don't understand the logic behind that, especially because, if anything, Rahul Tripathi made more of an impact in Punjab's favor than in Hyderabad's favor. He only scored 11 off of 14, less than run a ball. Yes, SRH ended up with 182, but that was mainly because of Nitish Kumar Reddy scoring 64 off of 37, including being given a reprieve and being dropped. So, a lot of this could just have not happened. There were multiple drop catches, including one off the last ball where Jaydev Unatka just throws his bat at it. Should have been caught in the deep. Ball gets palmed over for 6. And that 6 mattered because SRH won by exactly 2 runs. If that ball gets caught out, Punjab wins this in the final over. But here's the thing. The funny thing is, SRH had no business even getting to 180. The only reason they got to 180 was because Punjab dropped at least 4 catches, including that of Nitish Kumar Reddy, who ended up being the ultimate game changer because he gets 64 in very quick time. He also picks up a wicket in his bowling. So he basically did it all for SRH. He saved them from being completely humiliated because the way that SRH innings went, they had no business going even over 150. SRH kept losing wickets in heaps, not just in consistent intervals, but in heaps. When they lost 1 wicket, they would almost immediately lose another for relatively little impact. If it wasn't for players like Nitish Kumar Reddy and then Abdul Samad, who pitched in with 25 from 12 at a strike rate of over 200, SRH would have been in a deep hole. Every single one of those contributions mattered. But you look at it and you're saying, wait, well, what did I just watch? Because sometimes it would feel like Punjab was bowling great. Their lines and lengths were great. But the fielding was abysmal. You can't drop multiple catches. Because those dropped catches not only means that you don't get the wicket, but on that ball alone, depending on how far it goes, the batting team gets another 1 or 2 runs, and then who knows how many more runs the batter who just got the reprieve scores after that. I don't exactly remember how many runs Nitish Kumar Reddy had already scored when he was dropped, but he ended up scoring a lot more after that, so that 1 drop costed them a lot. And then obviously Unatka being dropped directly costed them 6 because the fielder was at the boundary line. He palms it over the line for 6. Small margins all across the board. And then you get to the Punjab chase and it's just, you know how I said nothing made sense when SRH was batting? Well, when Punjab was batting, whatever sense of logic you had, throw it out the window because it did not exist. It frankly did not exist. Johnny Bairstow gets out cheap. Pratsimran Singh comes in as the impact player, which was the only proper logical use of an impact sub in this game. Unfortunately, he didn't make much of an impact either. And then Shikhar Dhawan gets stumped off of a seamer. So normally how a stumping works is you have the keeper closer up to the stumps. Normally when a spinner is bowling, you come down the track, you miss, keeper whips off the bails. You know how that goes. But Pat Cummins, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Heinrich Klaassen came together very well tactically. Klaassen comes up to the stumps. Bhuvneshwar Kumar makes Shikhar Dhawan come down the track to try and hit him at the ground because wickets were falling, and SRH was thinking that maybe Punjab would try to force the issue to try and get a sort of momentum going. So Shikhar Dhawan tries to force that issue, comes down the track, whiffs, and Heinrich Klaassen does the rest. So that was something pretty interesting because you generally just don't see that at all in cricket in general. So Pat Cummins' tactics this IPL, aside from the impact sub today, which was very questionable, Pat Cummins has justified his price tag of over 20 crores. His bowling has been excellent. He's been a consistent wicket taker. But as a captain, his tactics, especially in the field, have been amazing. And the Shikhar Dhawan stumping is probably the most prominent example because it happened today. And how often do you see a seamer providing a stumping? That almost doesn't happen. So it's those little things that make me think, okay, this SRH team can make a big run. And then you go on later in the innings, and the same way Punjab dropped 3 to 4 catches, SRH dropped 3 to 4 catches, including palming a couple of balls over for 6. And those small margins almost ended up costing them, especially when it came to the back end, where Shashank Singh and Ashutosh Sharma, the heroes from the Punjab win over Gujarat last week, they almost did it again. They almost pulled off another heist in a match where Punjab had no business winning, let alone being in. The batting collapses. Shashank Singh and Ashutosh Sharma keep calm, and they just start hitting. And they just keep hitting, and they just keep getting reprieves because SRH does not hold on to the ball. They keep dropping the ball, meaning they have more opportunities to score runs, and they scored runs in bunches. They kept founding the boundary. They kept hitting sixes. It's credit to them because they almost did it again. They almost brought Punjab home, but ultimately those small margins added up at the worst possible time. And even after SRH gave Punjab an early reprieve early on in the 20th over by palming a ball over for 6, when you're down to 10 from 2, both balls have to at least be a boundary, with one of them having to guarantee being a 6. They did get that 6 off of the last ball, but it wasn't enough because the second to last ball only went for 1. And wouldn't you know it, in the spirit of this game, it was a drop catch, because of course it was. But those small margins kept adding up, and eventually it was just too much. But that's kind of just how it went. And so in these sort of comedy of errors type of games, it's a matter of who makes less errors, and Punjab just made more errors, SRH just made less. So that's kind of how it went. But one thing I kind of want to leave off on is for SRH this year, all 3 of their Player of the Match award winners have been uncapped Indian players. Abhishek Sharma was the Player of the Match in their first 2 wins. And then today, it was another uncapped player. So that's a very good sight, especially if you have someone like Nitish Kumar Reddy who can give you an all-around performance, who can perform with the bat and perform with the ball. Getting these sort of performances from uncapped Indian players is everything that the IPL is about. And that should really excite you as SRH fans if you are an SRH fan. Just seeing that sort of top-tier performance from your uncapped players. But in terms of both teams going forward, fielding. Catches win matches. Just dedicate probably half of your training sessions for your next match just to fielding. If you're SRH, you're not going to get away with this again. And if you're Punjab, this directly costed you the match. SRH should have been bundled up for 150 or less, but those drop catches turned into at least 30 extra runs in my opinion. And if you're SRH, sure, you got lucky by getting to 180 because of Punjab's drop balls, but you almost lost a match because of your drop balls. So it goes both ways. Punjab's fielding forced them to chase a much higher total than they should have been chasing, and SRH's fielding made the score defense much more difficult than it should have been. So, yeah, that's just kind of how it was. Very, very strange game. Very, very entertaining. And that's the IPL in a nutshell, so it is what it is. So with that, I'm going to leave off there. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, I'll be back for the next one. As always, have a good one.